what better way to test the controller setup that we spent time doing than to do an online race with real people online, because it's online race. This should be very interesting indeed. I don't think there's lots of people who join this server, but I don't know how many of them are actually racing. Maybe it's been a complete disaster. Now, if you haven't yet, I did a video earlier about setting up the Xbox controller in a way that makes AC quite playable using a gamepad if you don't happen to have a wheel, or for some reason you're unable to use your wheel. I've not actually tried driving this car with the gamepad yet. It's really hard finding the actual bite points when you're using a gamepad to find the exact brake points and whether you've got grip or not, because you don't have the force feedback. And really, if you haven't tried a force feedback wheel, you have to get out there and try one straight away, because it absolutely transforms driving games. Having said that, I was genuinely surprised at how well you can drive with a gamepad once you fiddle around with the settings. Oh, there's someone doing laps. So the test will be, can we do a lap time that's similar to a person that's presumably driving with a wheel? Maybe they're driving with a keyboard. Can you imagine real world drivers trying to navigate a car around a track? Well, with a gamepad. Now it's going to depend on from car to car as to how well each car works with a gamepad. I think the slower, more controllable cars, these GT3 cars, are really controllable. They're really forgiving, so they actually work really well with the gamepad. I think something like the Formula at Bath or that Lotus, the crazy, I can't remember, the Lotus T125, is it? But if you try driving that with a controller, you're probably going to smash in your face into the table. Sorry about coughing, still dying. One of the great things with this Assetto Corsa is that it is actually really accessible. You really get no feel for the grip limit. You do get they've got rumble with the controller, so as you're turning in, the rumble frequency changes, so you can, don't know if you can feel if you're understeering or turning in too tight, but you are getting different rumble that gives you a little bit of communication. Oh, here we go, that was the warm-up. This should be interesting. Patented the crotch camera here. It's an innovation. It's like the thermal camera in F1, only it's not a thermal camera, it's just a camera pointed at the guy's groinal region. Oh, it looks like more people are joining in the track now. Let's put this stuff on the screen. There we go. And where's the position? Well, that'll help. I don't know why I turned all this off. The steering wheel's on the screen, it's just lower down, because I like driving with a lower FOV. You find it, if you drive with a lower FOV, it makes it a lot easier to notice what the car's doing. Where's the time board thing? I've forgotten what it's called. Where are you? Oh, here it is. Session ranking. No, that's not right. Or maybe it is. Oh, race position. There we go. That's what I wanted. Move the mouse off the screen. what I really wanted to do was attach the camera to the to the gamepad itself. Oh, going all over the place. But I need to get some kind of like stick or something that I can then clip onto the controller. That'd be pretty cool. It's so hard using the analog sticks on the Xbox 360 pad to feel like be gentle with it and then apply the right amount of pressure. It's just really tricky. I guess if you do a lot of console games though, it'll come more naturally. Oh, really bad stutter. Sorry. One really nice thing with the new Xbox controller for the Xbox One, I don't know if they'll implement the drivers, but it has really nice sort of HD rumble, and actually gives you a really good. If you've played the new Forza on the Xbox One, you can actually feel if the car's understeering, if you're applying the right amount of brake and accelerator. Again, it's nowhere near as good as a force feedback wheel, but it's a massive improvement on the Xbox 360 controller. And playing Forza, the new Forza, with a gamepad is actually really nice. It just feels really nice. The general physics of the game aren't really to my liking, but the actual the basic feel, if you just bought an Xbox One, you didn't really play driving games, it's really awesome. It's actually incredible what they've managed to get, like the experience you get from a joystick, and what they've managed to do, what the developers managed to do in terms of conveying what the car's doing through their Xbox One joystick rumble. Whoa! See, if that was with a wheel, you'd get you'd feel the back end starting to come out, so you'd correct it. Whereas with the rumble, you have to just memorise going into that. Not last. If I get the top 3 in quality, that'd be amazing. We're 11 minutes. It's the ultimate test for the GamerMuscle Xbox 360 pad setup. Feels so on edge. Oh, a bit wide. It's okay. It's very easy with the gamepad to accidentally turn in too much. You can waste a lot of time by just turning the steering wheel too much. I think that's a thing that a lot of people that are new to driving games tend to do, is the car's not turning in, so instead of backing off the throttle or dabbing the brake or approaching the corner different, they just turn the steering wheel more in the hopes that that will get them around the corner faster, or that'll make the car turn more. I think it's not a very intuitive aspect of real world driving, of simulated driving, probably in real world driving as well. But I mean, for the people that do a lot of sim racing, you get to grips with the feel of the cars, and if you're turning too much, and if you're losing speed from turning too much, and often you get good force feedback. In this, especially in Assetto, of course, you get really nice feedback for if the front wheels are losing grip, and so therefore understeering off the corner. But again, with the controller, with the Xbox 360 controller, there's nothing apart from some nice little rumbles, so I can get a little hand massage. Don't know if you remember, but for Res on the PlayStation 2, they released a vibrating pad that came with the game, and lots of people would play the game with their partners, and the guy would let their girlfriend sit on the rumble pad. Whoa, oh no, went off the track. So the girlfriend could get a bit of a thrill whilst they were playing on it. the amount of vibration on this, I'm surprised how the two little DC motors in the Xbox 360 pad, how much they're rumbling my hands. I feel like I'm using a jackhammer. Come on, we've got to get in the top 3. Having the speed sensitivity on a little bit, I think it's at 48%, really helps for those faster flowing corners. Ooh, 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 ooh. You should be able to do that corner in one movement rather than a flopping out drift. One thing the controller does, which is quite good, is it encourages you to drive really smooth because it's so hard to correct. If you go over, like with the way they set up the controls, you can give a bit of opposite lock, but it's tricky to get it just right and be precise. It's amazing if you do a lot of sim racing and you use a force feedback wheel, how much you can take the force feedback for granted. And it's just strange to me that a lot of people don't realise how good force feedback steering wheels are. I mean, they're not like real car wheels. They're far too weak and they feel a bit tacky. But compared to other gaming peripherals, the amount of feel, immersion, tactility, just what goes on into it, it's just really nice. And a lot of people have never played a driving game, arcade or simulator, with a force feedback wheel. They really don't know what they're missing. It's a shame that there isn't more awareness of it. Well, this is a good lap. Well, it feels like it is, probably isn't. Try and do this smooth. The camera of the track makes the back of the car kick out a bit. With a wheel, that corner is really nice and easy. You just flow in, but with the joystick, you're sort of on edge, trying not to nudge it in because that'll unsettle the car. Oh, 8th! Come on, I've got at least 2 more laps. I'm braking way too early for this. I think one of the things is that controller can help with as well is trying to force you to carry speed through the corners rather than applying too much brake. Now, I don't have any assists on in this at all, so that's why it's super duper tricky. Whoa, stuff like that's really hard with the controller because you have to transverse the whole dead zone on the analog stick. Even if you don't put a dead zone in the software with your controls, there's just a big slack area on the Xbox controller. You have to go across through that. Oh, bugger. And then go to the other side and then come back again, and it's quite hard to get that spot on. I think other than for specific driving games that are designed for controller, like Dirt 2 and Grid, and those games play really well with a Xbox controller. I think they've been designed around the controller. Like the physics, fundamentally, the game is designed around the controller, and that's the only time when a game controller really works is when the developer designs the game around the input. And so other than the specific games that are designed around it, a controller is pretty garbage as an input device, really. Mouse, keyboard and wheel, that's where it's all at. But for games designed around it, like I say, the specific arcade driving games, Split Seconds is a really good game to play with a controller. And obviously platformers work really well. Ooh. So hard. Be a pro at knitting. I wonder if they're, I don't know if they're doing the Xbox One drivers. I think they've just come out for Windows recently, the Xbox One controller. But I don't know if how well the Rumble's supported. Presumably the developer has to program the Rumble effects for the device. It'd be interesting to see if that happens with this or other driving games. Maybe that'll be Project Cars. Presumably they'll bother to do it because obviously the game is going to be released for Xbox One as well as PlayStation 4. I think this is the last chance. Downshift broke and downshifted way too much there. We're doing this. It's nice how you still get obviously you've got Assetto Corsa's physics under the hood, regardless of what you're playing with. But it's nice how you do, even using completely the wrong controller, you are sort of reacting to similar things. Like in that situation there, was coming through the corner, on the braking a little bit, the back end was coming out a little bit, and the response, even though using a joystick, felt moderately similar to when using a wheel. So it's not the end of the world if you don't have a steering wheel. It's just obviously that's the far more desirable way to play the game, far more enjoyable, far more immersive. But if you're at a stretch, a controller will do the job. Potato controller just about works. Get faster every time. Because you have to be so precise on the controls with the Xbox controller, there's something quite hypnotic and satisfying about getting stuff right. It's a little bit annoying when you get certain situations where you'd be able to catch the car a lot easier with a wheel, and it just doesn't feel as enjoyable to catch the car with a joystick. To stop talking to concentrate. This is going to be the world record lap. You can feel it. Oh. Can do it. Last corner. This is the money shot. Well, the laser scan bumps on this really unsettle the car. Oh, come on, this is it, it's the last chance. I should change gear sooner. 7th! Well, there you go. That's not terrible, considering I've been playing, I've probably done about 3 or so hours, including the time messing around, setting it up. So you could be moderately competitive with an Xbox controller. I'm sure people that have used an Xbox controller a lot, or don't even play with a wheel, and you're familiar with it, you'd be a lot better than me at driving with the gamepad. You see his hand zooming around because the sensitivity is so high to allow you to correct and counter steer properly. As a result, the onboard camera, the onboard wheel rotates really fast if you go lock to lock, but as you could see when I was driving, you're not really going lock to lock most of the time. You're just moving a tiny fraction, a couple of millimeters, leaning on it almost. I can't remember which one's up. Don't want to go in reverse. That's the It's going to be interesting to see if I don't actually accidentally take other people out. Oh no, someone's driven into me. Oh, that was controllable. If I was using the default controls in that situation, I think I probably would have lost the car. Well, that's nice. Just see if I can catch up with these people. And just T-bone that guy. Probably would have broke his ribs. There goes another person. People just need to take it easy on the first lap. I don't, every single driving game that's ever come out, ever in the history of driving games, people always lose it on the first lap. It's like, why bother? This person set the server. It's a 6-lap race. You can be chilled out. You'll get there. Unless I've been playing with friends or on a league or higher ranked iRacing races, people, half the grid, more than half the grid, will crash at least once within the first 5 laps. So, and if you spin and lose the car, then that's going to be at least 30 seconds wasted. And really, that means you could be in a 5-lap race, you could be 2-3 seconds off the pace, 2.5 seconds off the pace per lap, and still win simply by just driving the car nice and safely. So it literally makes no sense driving over your limit on the first couple of laps, but people will still do it. I guess you've got to learn where your limit is, and one way of doing that is by driving over your limit, and eventually you get to a level where you know that, and then you don't crash. I think they might have improved the network smoothing. The other people on this server look a lot smoother. They're driving the Lotuses, I think. So I think they're slower than I'm driving the BMW M3. Oh, no. Ah, there you go. See, if that was with the default Xbox controller setup, Xbox Connect, the default Xbox controller set. Oh no, stutter. Then I would have lost the car there, but because of the GamerMuscle Pro controller setup, I was able to collect the car through supreme thumb control. I'm actually genuinely surprised how well this is playing with a gamepad, and actually more than it just working, it's actually quite enjoyable. Oh god, someone's right by. Oh, thank you. What a penis. I'll catch up with him. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt and just assume that he's laggy. Does he know he punted off someone that's driving with an Xbox controller? But he's been recorded, so I didn't catch his name though. It wasn't this guy. It's the guy in front of Verdan Rustic. Dusty. Sick Dusty. You are the penis, and you've been recorded, and now every single subscriber that decides to watch this video on my YouTube channel will know you as the penis that rams into people. He probably did it by accident. It's very easy to accidentally bump into people. I think if I had the wheel in that situation, I probably would have been able to steer into the bump, and probably wouldn't have had to have gone off track. It definitely looks like the netcode, the net smoothing seems a lot better. These people might just have really good pings, but it looks a lot more believable than when I last tried AC Online. It's a really good track. Catching up with you guys with my controller. Watch out. A sickly man playing with a game controller is going to overtake you. Should feel very ashamed. Mind you, they're probably playing with a keyboard, so so sensitive through there. Just shows you how much of driving is about just hitting brake points. You don't have to be on the limit balancing the car to do a moderate lap. Obviously these laps are going to be terrible on the grand scheme of things. But for bog standard public server racing, once you learn brake points, just generally drive smooth, that goes a long way to getting to a level where you can have moderately good racing. Oh, look at that speed round the outside. Oops, too much brake. I like the diffuse glow off the lights that they've put in the game, and the exhaust has it as well. It's sort of a bloom effect. It's a bit overdone, but in some ways the way it's overdone actually looks quite satisfying. Oh, he's going to lose it. I'm going to lose it because I... Oh, shit, that was me. Oh, totally... Wow, that was both of us there, but... I really shouldn't have bumped into him at the end there. I feel a little bit guilty. Sorry, I am now the penis. I've replaced the penis. It's a bit ambitious considering it's my first race online with an Xbox controller. I'd say the blame was shared there. Nothing to do with me ramming into him, going onto the grass for no reason, and just instead of just keeping a distance, avoiding him safely, I thought I would ram it up the grass and try and overtake on the outside. The logical overtaking manoeuvre. I've been studying Kubica's previous driving in F1, and it's the Kubica school of thought. When in doubt, use the grass. Oh, we're coming up to the last lap. And it looks like I might get a podium if I don't screw up, which I'm probably going to do because I've just jinxed myself. I've just got to take this Stan KGB, obviously working for the Russian government. We can get him. Could do this. I'll be happy with a third place. It's the proof of the pudding in that this controller setup works. Of course, go to the controller setup video. Hopefully other people can benefit from me spending a ridiculous amount of time fiddling with the controller. Oh! I feel really unsafe driving up the inside of someone in a braking zone whilst playing with a potato controller. Oh, he can't take... This is another thing, right? I know, he's alright. But oftentimes, if you just drive close behind someone, they will mess up the brake points because they can't take the pressure. You don't even have to be faster than them. You just have to drive within 3 meters or so of them, and they will make a mistake. Stan KGB with his 20 ping. He's still warping a little bit, so I guess Kunos has got a little bit to do on the netcode still. Oh, and he's into... No, neck and neck. Oops, that's a bit dodgy on the braking there. This is the battle, this. Oh no, too wide, come on. This is so hard. Oh, he's made a mistake there. He's lost his grip. Just got to get close enough to put pressure on him. Come on. Oh, when you've got to like keep enough throttle to keep the car turning, and if you come off the throttle too much, the back end wants to come out. Oh, this is not a place I want to overtake. Oh, come on. My hands are gripping the controller so hard. I'm going to snap the controller in half. Ideally, you want to hold the controller nice and loose. It's not going to happen in this situation. Oh no! The race is finished, so I don't get to finish it. Well, that's a bit of a disaster. Come on, Kudos, need to fix that. But okay, that's proof of the controller working, my scheme setup. Go to the video and check it out. I'll link it at the end of this video so you can see how to set your controller up so that you can use an Xbox controller, control slides, race online, and feel happy with your hands because you're using them to drive. Subscribe and like. Have a cup of tea. I've got one right here in a pint glass.